Well, different. I see it mentioned here, but Tantra yoga is not exactly yoga. Tantra by itself is a complete discipline where basically you use the experiences of the body as spiritual experiences. So it is a way of approaching God, but they have it here as so Tantra. Tantra is pre-Vedic. So before they wrote anything down, everything was purely a personal experience. So the yogis and the sages all had their personal experiences and they would explain what they felt to people, and that is Tantra. So, like many people wonder, these sages had children, so they had desires. But the thing about Tantra is you do not extract yourself from daily life. So you lead a household life, and everything that you experience is part of the divine experience. And Tantra, basically, that's the approach of Tantra. And that's when you get all, even food, the different food that you eat if you eat food and it creates a positive feeling, you can channel that into a spiritual experience. Whereas if you eat certain foods and it has a negative feeling, then you can say that's not a spiritual experience. But this is where it gets into, you can smoke marijuana, for example, and you consider that a spiritual discipline. Or you drink alcohol. In some tantric practices, you drink alcohol and you have a spiritual experience because you practice meditation while intoxicated. So that's why Tantra is not something you practice lightly, because you can become addicted, for example, or using sexual activity as part of your spiritual discipline, where you might become lustful because you are having these experiences rather than spiritual. So that's why Tantra is not exactly a type of yoga, but it's more of an approach to life. So it gives here Tantra literally means loom, warp, weave. It appears in Rig Veda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda. So, but in a nutshell, Buddhist Tantric literature, so everybody has Tantra in their literature. But it is pre-Vedic. I see even here, they say modern era occultists. Pierre Bernard introduced it to the American people. The popular sexualization is more accurately regarded as the Western Neo-Tantra, which is new tantric practice. The problem with Tantra, now the problem with all yoga, which is, as I'll close off this episode, I'll just say, in terms of these yogas, so Bhakti yoga for the beginner, okay, because Bhakti is love and devotion. Jnana yoga, knowledge, study of scripture, is not mid-level, but it's a little higher because you have to be a certain intelligence to be able to read and understand and contemplate. Karma yoga is the easiest, and that's why Krishna recommends it above all yogas. He recommends karma yoga. You work without any attachment to the result of your actions. So that's karma yoga. Raja yoga for those who are more serious and more disciplined. Okay. Dhyan, meditation for those who are more introverted. Okay. Sankhya, which is discerning knowledge, can go together with Jnana and meditation. But when you come to Kundalini Yoga, Tantra Yoga, Kriya Yoga, but Kriya Yoga is considered safer. These yogas are dangerous because they are more hands-on and they go more into having the ability to release too much energy into a person who is not prepared for the amount of energy. A lot of the time, if you practice Tantra or Kundalini Yoga, you are not physically prepared, you have not done pranayama, you have not done kriya or cleansing exercises, you can get sick, you can suffer from ailments, and in some situations you can go insane. Especially with Tantra and Kundalini Yoga, you can go insane from having the third eye open too much. When you have, for example, trauma, you have emotional issues, you have mental issues, and you open the third eye too much, you can have hallucinations, you can have very real, let's say, often too real hallucinations to the point where you cannot discern between reality and, physical and mental states. So you have even, now in terms of yoga, what I, through reading and my own discipline, understand is that things like demons and angels, not angel, but things like demons and deities are really, they reside within you, in your mind, as trauma or positive experiences that guide you. And so what we usually know as demonic or let's say possession is something that happens naturally when practicing Kundalini Yoga or Tantra. There's often a feeling that you have something around, some entity around, something is following you, something is always with you, always there. Now, in terms of positive, you feel like you are being guided. Negative, you feel that you are possessed. So it depends on your level of purity or impurity. You may feel possessed if you are impure, where you have to meditate and clear your own trauma. Or if you are pure, not pure in terms of, okay, you act a certain way, but you really inside, you have positive experiences, you have love, you have devotion, you have a positive outlook, then you feel guided, you feel like God is with you. So from a yogic perspective, with Tantra, Kundalini Yoga, Kriya Yoga, that is the feeling you have.